Hello, Year 3s, and welcome to your flipped classroom video for this week. This week, we are going to be looking at the layout of the science investigation that we have just started, but we are also going to be referring back to what we have learned previously about magnetic materials. Now, you know, a couple weeks ago, we did an investigation about what materials were magnetic and what materials were non-magnetic. And within that, you should have also learned that actually not all metals are magnetic. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And on it, I'm just going to go through the science investigation sheet that we're doing, and then I'm going to quickly do part of it with you today. So this is the investigation sheet that we were looking at on Friday. And this is the layout that we were looking at when you are looking at investigation. And if you look on the side, it says that you should include the following things. You should have a prediction. You should have some kind of a scientific question. You've got variables. You've got equipment or the materials that you're going to be using. You have a process in which you're going to undertake the entire investigation, almost the instructions of the step-by-step of what you're going to do, your observation, what you observe while you're doing the investigation, your results, all the information that you collect, and then finally a conclusion that will link back to what we previously looked at, or sorry, it'll link back to the prediction or the scientific question. So with that in mind, we are going to have another look at magnetic materials, but this time I'm going to test with different types of metal. Now, I have got these little metal discs with me today, and we're going to be testing which metals are magnetic and which metals are not magnetic. So the little discs that I have are all the same size, which means that my investigation will be fair. They're all the same size, and on them is written what kind of metal they are. So the different metals that I have are as follows. I have a copper one. I've got iron. I have got stainless steel, brass, bronze, I've got tin plate, and I have another kind of steel here. So I have got 7 little types of steel. I have also got a magnet with me to test out our investigation. So if we go back to our scientific investigation and the layout, the prediction is what we think is going to happen. And usually we use any information that we may know previously, or we will just make an educated guess about our prediction of what will happen. We don't always have to be right with the prediction, and the investigation will then say whether or not we were correct with our prediction. So a prediction could be something like, I think that all metals are magnetic, or I think that only the silver metals will be magnetic. So that is a prediction. I think this is going to happen in my investigation. My scientific question would be the question that we state. So it would be something like, are all metals magnetic? It would be a question that we are asking. The variables are the pieces in the experiment that are either going to change, or what we're going to be measuring, or what we're going to be keeping the same. So my independent variable will be the types of metal that I am using, right? What I'm going to measure, so what the information I'm going to gather, all of that. The dependent variable will be whether they are magnetic or non-magnetic. And then the control variable that we're keeping the same is that the discs are all the same size, and I'm using the same magnet. So obviously the equipment that I'm using is my magnet and my 7 different types of metal. And then the process of that is the process is the way in which I'm going to undertake this investigation. So what I'm going to do first is get my magnet and my 7 pieces of my 7 metal discs. And to check whether or not it is magnetic or not, I'm simply going to hold my magnet in one hand, hold my metal in another, and I'm going to hold it there and see whether or not it is attracted to the magnet. So the very first one I'm testing is tin plate. And if we look, we can see that tin plate is magnetic. So I'm going to put it in a little pile of my magnetic one. Next up, I'm going to test steel. Again, it's magnetic. Next, I'm going to test copper. If I look, the copper is not magnetic. So we'll put it on this side. We're going to test bronze. Okay, it is not magnetic. Brass, not magnetic. Iron is magnetic. And then lastly, we have stainless steel. If we have a look, not magnetic. So just from that, I can see that, and I can go around and have a look, that actually I have 3 metals that are all magnetic, and I have 4 metals that are not magnetic because they are not able to attract to my magnet. So if I go back to my experiment, I can see that my observation would be that the stainless steel, the iron, and the tin plate were all magnetic. And I would also observe that the brass, the bronze, the copper, and the stainless steel were non-magnetic. Those would be my observation. And then there would be different ways that I could put them up. I could put it in a bar chart. I could put it in a tally chart. I could just have a simple tick chart with the magnet, the metals down one side, and a simple yes/no column of whether or not it was magnetic. And then my conclusion should link back to my original question, my scientific question: are all magnets magnetic? And the answer is they are not. Not all metals are magnetic. And we learned that the ones that we looked at, tin plate, iron, and steel, were magnetic. Well, the one bit of steel, there were 2 slightly different bits of steel, and I will double check that for you. But then stainless steel was not, copper was not, bronze was not, and brass was not. So I hope that helped you just have a better understanding of how to lay out your scientific investigations and why we do it, and linking back from your conclusion, linking it back to the original question. So use this information when we continue with the investigation that we are doing in class, testing the strength of magnets, and think about what goes in each what goes under each subheading, what information we're collecting, how are you going to collect it, how are you going to show those results. My little question for you at the end of this video is the following: can you come and find me in school and tell me which metals that we tested were magnetic and which ones were not?